Testing.
Uh,
Hey everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the Asheville Music Professional panel. Little, back and forth, little dialogue. Let's first say thank you to our 3 attendees or panelists. We've got Marcus King, Marcus Lee King, give him a hand. Leah Blevins.
Yeah.
And Jordan.
Lawhead.
Jordan Lawhead.
There you go.
yes.
Thanks so much for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being at the first annual Marcus King Band Family Reunion. Day 1 was excellent. Day 2 is going to be even better. We're so excited to have you here. And Asheville Music Professionals is an advocacy group really educating our local, not just Buncombe County, but Western North Carolina musicians, folks in the music business, agents. And today we want to make sure we have some conversation with the actual musicians, learn a little bit about how you could be the next, Marcus Lee King, maybe the next Eric Travers, the next Leah Blevins, who knows, part of the family. But we just want to welcome everyone again. Please grab a beer, grab a Episcopale if you're feeling it. And if you've got a question, raise your hand. We're going to kick it off with a question that I have for you, Marcus. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, and by the way, I'm Franny, Franimal, Francina Edmonds.
Franny.
Thank you for having me.
Let's give her a hand too, man. Takes a lot of effort.
Woo! So, Marcus, again, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of folks are impressed with your talent, but also the way that you have handled your career, a very short time frame of success, a very fast and fast-paced success. And the question I think a lot of folks ask, and they maybe ask you, but we'd love to know the answer. How do you chronicle your evolution? So how do you follow your own path, but also the path that the folks have set up for you, like your agent or your manager, but also remain very true to who you are?
Well, we
3-part question.
were able to assemble a really, really phenomenal team around us that was, able to really see the vision that I had for what we were trying to do, and basically just keeping a level head and just working, hard enough to where you can't really have time to get a big head, I guess, if that makes sense. And that's something that I learned from my grandfather a lot, was like, no matter how good you are, there's like somebody a lot younger and a lot better doing it, around the corner. And like meeting Taz, who's here this weekend, is like a really big reminder of that, So really just my grandfather's words and my father as well mostly told me what not to do and what to stay away from. And you'll find yourself getting there anyway. But I mean, I guess basically we tour so much that we don't really have a concept of the growth that we've had in the past 2 years. And we're like tops that are spinning, and whenever we stop, we just kind of fall over. You know what I mean? So whenever we take a little bit of time off, we can kind of take a step back and look and see that it's working, and then we just go right back to it.
Awesome. Keep accelerating. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Leah,
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
got a question for you.
Okay, I'll try and find an answer.
Love those shades, by the way, girl.
Thank you.
An event like this is I'm sure, a great, exciting event for you in your career. I know you've just released something in November, a single, and you've got an EP being released in February as well. On the path of your career, an event like this, getting to play maybe up, tell us a little bit about that and how you challenge yourself to play up.
Sure. I grew up in church singing background vocals with my twin sister, and I have an older sister as well. And from that point to now, I think about I was a background vocalist my whole life, and moved to Nashville singing, trying to do this to mimic the Civil Wars, if you will, like Americana, chasing that kind of thing. And again, singing background vocals, that was diminished, not the friendship, but the endeavor. As far as a duo, and it was either go home and have kids and get married or stay there and be broke. And I'm so thankful that I chose the path that I did. Not that I won't seek the other in the future, but it's just, this is what's happened for me now. But with that being said, to answer your question, I think I've just seen such a climax and a welcoming just emotion thus far. Considering everything as far as music, it's one of those, it's cast upon you regardless. Everyone's welcoming. So it's a continual thing. You just keep playing more shows and you meeting, like he said, to reiterate, just people that are smarter than you and perhaps better, and the growth of it all, I guess.
Awesome. Community and growth.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Leah.
Sure.
Can I get a question from the audience? Somebody out there has got something.
Don't be shy. We
Don't
all
be
are,
shy.
I guess.
Anybody? Right here.
Well, I've been, my agents are here somewhere, and, yeah, they're hiding somewhere. But we had our own theories about their map and their dartboards kind of overlapping for a little while there. And there was a few 17-hour drives, but, these are markets that they really had a really phenomenal system of getting us in different markets, and then we kind of circled everything we wanted to be around. And now we have a little more say, like we really liked this market a lot, we really liked this room a lot, we'd love to come back here. Or if something didn't work out, it didn't work out, And we're always having open conversations about it. But I guess the past 2 or 3 years, it's been more of just, I just get in the van, and I just wake up wherever we go. And I think that's why you have a lot of times, like saying the wrong name of the state on the microphone.
Yeah.
And I think we can all relate to that one,
Yeah.
And they really don't like it in Oklahoma. Because I called them Arkansas. They didn't like that one.
That's fun.
Sorry, Oklahoma. Yeah. I love Oklahoma, by the way.
Nice.
We got broke down in Oklahoma for a little while, actually, recently, and there was a tornado. It's charming.
Charming. Just to piggyback on that question, what's one of the most interesting, maybe furthest from where you're from places you've played recently? All three of you. Let's start with Jordan.
Probably here. I really grew up playing a lot of music on the West Coast in Los Angeles. I started as a songwriter. I was blessed to get a publishing deal at a pretty young age and write a lot of songs. But I started out in L.A., and to be out here in this beautiful mountain town making music with all these beautiful people, it's really a pleasure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Woo!
Yeah.
You're flirting with these mountains. Love it. Leah?
I had the gracious experience of going to Tijuana and singing to stage 4 cancer patients and witnessing within a week people, the growth of just healing and positive minds. So Tijuana, Mexico for me.
Cool.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was gracious, for sure.
We recently did the Fuji Rock Festival in Japan, and it was, we love all the festivals that we do in the States, and everybody's always efficient, like here, like everybody that works at Pisgah, it's always great to work with very just efficient people, but in Japan, it's like that's what they do. Like there was no, dollar wasted. Like everybody was on point, like all the time, and everybody was very prideful in their work, and it was the most efficient festival I think we've ever had the pleasure of being a part of, and everybody was really gracious. But that was the biggest culture shock because it's a real sensory overload over there because like Tokyo was kind of a trip, man. You know, a lot of people, but it's so clean and there's no trash cans. I didn't understand that, and we didn't know what to do with our cigarette butts.
Careful, don't get arrested with those butts. Nice. That's exciting. I like that one, you guys.
Tomorrow's 3 months that I haven't smoked a cigarette on that note.
Hey, good on you.
It's crazy. I can't believe I'm doing it. Thank you so
Amen.
I'm
much.
proud of her.
Encouragement all the way. Give me another question from the audience. Right here. What's the dream? What's the dream?
The dream, well, I mean, the destination isn't really, well, the journey is the destination, you know what I mean? And the meaning of life is to give life meaning.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Mic drop.
Leah, what's up? What's
Oh
the dream?
man, I think I'm living my own dream. I don't know what if I'm promised tomorrow, so this is the dream for me. And I kind of hand my life over to God a long time ago, and today is my dream.
I love it.
Man. Jordan.
The dream was waking up in a motel. No, it's Super 8 today.
Super 8 today.
Super 8. We were in this dreamy little Super 8 out in Knoxville, and it smelled like something we've never smelled before. But we were living the dream, and we'll continue to, try to write songs that are as most genuine and cut to the bone as possible. I think that really is music. Really comes down to songs and connecting those with people because they feel like you really actually lived that moment. And that's
dream.
yeah, or that dream.
I agree completely. You know, I think that's the biggest thing about writing is at first it was something that I did for myself to escape,
Sure.
you know, and then people caught on to it and people realized that I was going through similar things that they didn't really have a platform to speak about it with, you know, on a really intimate level. And it's a very vulnerable place to put yourself out there and so thank you guys.
Oh, you're so right. You're so
Awesome. Nice, you guys. Getting all the feels up here.
right. Bunch of deep songwriters up here.
Another
Yeah.
question, you guys?
What's the thing that you feared the most that you learned to appreciate the best?
I still hate clowns. I know that. I guess for me, I have a lot of social anxiety, and it's a weird industry to get into with social anxiety. And I guess basically my biggest fear is not failure, but letting people down, and trying to remember to be happy, you know. And it's a difficult task because you can't make everybody happy all of the time, and that's something I struggle with a lot. But what was the second part of your question again? The thing I've learned to appreciate the most is being around people that I love, you know, and having, you know, memories like with my grandmother. She practically raised me, you know. So I got to bring her home to Germany just last week, and we got to spend some time in her hometown. So memories like that, you know, I learn to cherish the most.
That's awesome.
What about y'all?
Can I please rehear the question? I'm so sorry. I was listening to him talk.
The thing you fear the most that you appreciate the best or the most.
I think I just feared, like, subjecting myself to this existence as far as a songwriter, as a performer, was the fact that there would be a crowd. And I used to get so upset, if you will, that there wasn't a packed room. But now I find comfort in knowing that there is one person that will come up to me and give me a hug after a show and say, that one lyric, you know, and I didn't even think or pay any mind to it. So I think I hope that answers your question. That's just how I feel. Okay, yeah. Well, all of you. You're important. So.
Awesome.
Is that worth it?
That's good.
That was nice.
Jordan?
I So I went through a pretty severe illness and wasn't really sure if I was gonna really get a chance to play music again. And it was an interesting time for me because as musicians, our art form can really turn into our identity, and our worth is by how many people are there and what's the. It's just it can really get kind of twisted, and for me, I had to really face the fear of understanding that my musical life is only an expression of my life, and it's not really my identity. And that was a big thing, and something that I'm really grateful about is driving to Black Mountain with Leah and her twin sister, and they're sleeping in the car, and we're all having a beautiful time up here. I'm very grateful for that.
Nice. Awesome. We have time for a couple more questions from the audience right here, sir.
A lot of collaboration in music festivals. As you've begun your careers, what were some of those aha moments like, wow, I'm playing with this guy or I'm writing with that person? What are some of your personal experiences?
I got to open for the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Woo!
And yeah, I nearly peed myself. But my twin sister was with me, and my dad, that was the second time he had ever seen me play my music live in general. And it was after the fact. I was so nervous that I've sang The Wait probably a million, as much as you all probably have, and I forgot the lyrics in front of Jeff, and I was just like, what an idiot. But they were kind enough to set that part of aside and come back to our green room. And it was just a glorious experience, you know? Like, I can remember being about 16 years old, getting my first car and blaring their music, and then I get to open up for them in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And I'll never forget it. There's a picture of us declaring our love and toasting, and it was truly a pleasure. That moment in my life, I was just like, cool, I can go home to mama now, I guess. I'm not going to, but
Isn't she
it felt
sweet?
like that.
Marcus.
Well, we had a long-running joke. It's still kind of accurate, because we'd always have like heroes of ours sit in. But my rig's always been really kind of a minimal setup. I don't use a lot of stuff, so the backup rig's like even more minimal. So we'll have like the first time we had Warren sit in with us, one of the first times on the rooftop of the Georgia Theater, like the amp was broken and the cable was broken, and we had Eric Krasno sit in one time at the Rockwood Music Hall in New York, and the amp was broken again, and the guitar jack was broken. So a lot of moments like that, but there's so many that just really resonate with me, and like even last night, like on this stage, sitting in with J-Mo, like that was a really beautiful thing, because none of it was planned, and that's the best part of it. Today I have to kind of make a plan, but that's what this is all about, is planning. But the best part is when you go off the script, like write an itinerary and then use it as a guideline, basically. And I think I answered it sort of.
And we want you to feel led by the Spirit today. Can I get
Yes.
an amen?
Amen.
Let the church say.
Amen and amen. Let's get another question.
Come on, Joe Crow.
You're being talked about in the likes of guitar players like Chuck's or if you're like me, these guys are out there on the pedestal, right? So my question is two parts. Like, how do you deal with that pressure? Or do you feel pressure for that, right? And then the other is there a moment, if you describe it, where you realize you don't need to put them on a pedestal, but you can?
Yeah, that was a weird realization with both of those cats, actually, specifically, because became friends of mine, which is still odd and like family, really. You know, we call him Uncle Warren, and it's a crazy thing, and I still, you know, get taken back by it sometimes. But I think there's a, like, you know, Jordan was talking about it earlier, is people being identified by their persona that's on the stage. And I've written about it. I'm sure we've all written about it. But being able to, I don't really use the term the pedestal too much, but being able to take people out of that light and just see them as just fellow human beings, I think people really appreciate that. And that's something I really appreciate when I meet people that just kind of talk about the weather or whatever, you know, and just have a good time. And I've had that weird realization with a lot of heroes of mine, and I still respect them immensely, you know, but just as I respect everybody in my band, you know, and just as equal human beings, but, you know, obviously, like, Clapton's still, you know.
Transcendent.
I fangirl out a lot. I do it. I met, like, Rachel Price from Lake Street Dive. I met her in Atlanta, and I was like, my girlfriend was with me, and, you know, I was giddy. I was very giddy. So that still happens a lot, you know, very nervous giggles.
Yeah. Leah?
I feel like I can never remember the question that is asked after I listen to him speak.
And that one was more specific to Marcus, but
Yeah.
That you
Well, I
put on
mean,
a pedestal.
sitting amongst Marcus and just people again. Like I played in this round the other day with folks that I had truly just treasured before even pursuing this career path, and I think it's more so just recognizing that we all are in this together, and music is the only platform that truly allows each human being to kind of, whether you write it, play it, listen to it, we can be amongst each other. As far as fangirling, I do it in and outside of music, regardless of the human being. I think it's this endearing emotion that we all have, as far as just like we're taught to know what superiority is and what have you, and you allow yourself to kind of be susceptible to that. And I think more or less just realizing within everything that's taken place in this existence that we're all in, this reality of just chaos, if you will, it's more or less like if we could decompress those things as far as like, as he said, like a pedestal or someone of stature you idolize, it needs to be more of let's just hold hands and walk through all of this together. But there's definitely been moments that I've felt like I didn't have the words, but it's all in glorious nature. So
nice. Great question. Thank you, guys.
yeah.
We have time for one more question for Marcus. Anyone?
Since they called me out, I have to. Where you headed next?
It's actually, well, here, and then
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yeah, Athens, Georgia. This is gonna be our first time headlining at the Georgia Theater. So it's a really special night for me. I'm excited. We used to play at the Nowhere Bar all the time, and we play at the Nowhere Bar, and we always look at the marquee, and you know, having like visual things to look at like that to work towards is it's really gratifying when you can get to that. And let's just hope they spelled the name right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One more. That was a shorter question, so let's have one more. It's going to be a good one.
Oh boy,
Oh,
the intensity. Thank you.
Woo!
I lost my dad recently, and it was touching to see you rocking with your dad last night. I just want to, can you talk about like your dad's influence, your great father's influence?
their words always resonate with me, like every day, in social situations and in musical situations, and it's more. I learned a lot from them about the notes that you don't play are just as important as the notes you do play, and that applies in life, too. The words you don't say mean more than the words you do say sometimes, and the person talking the most usually knows the least in most situations, and I learned a lot of that from them, and like I aforementioned was, having an ego really doesn't get you anywhere, and we've all worked with people with just horrible egos, and it's a difficult thing, because a lot of times that could be used as a blanket for insecurity, to be egotistical about yourself, and you can really see through it if you look close enough. And I learned a lot about that from them. And my dad's still my guru. And he toured his whole life and was in a lot of different bands. And I guess what I learned from him at a really young age was to take what I do and encapsulate it and promote myself. Because he always was a guitar player. And he can sing too, but he never really wanted to. He just wanted to be like the guitar player in a group. And he'd be in situations where the front man would kind of screw everybody over, situations like that. So he told me to kind of take what I do by the reins and be the one that's, steering the ship. And that was advice that really still sticks with me, and just trying to be a good leader,
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jordan Leah Blevins, Marcus Lee King. What a community we have here, you guys. Doesn't it feel like we're all kind of part of the family? We really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much to Pisgah Brewing Company for doing so much of this for us, for Asheville Music Professionals for giving a platform to the artists, to the agents, to everyone who's working in music in our region, and to you for bringing us together. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Woo! You guys, thank you. Thank you. Enjoy. Grab a beer. Let's party.